Day 5 or 6, I can't remember. Apparently this is the last day. The weekly wipe, pre-Eastern, but when, yeah, funny. Monthly update, monthly at update blueprints wipe. That coming? No, guess that was maybe last week or a week prior. Yeah. This is the mini and the fine little server, I think. All place to start. There's a little bit of boom going around, so I thought I would make a quick video to kind of save some ideas. This door I wish didn't protrude outside, but the thing about doors is that they only open to the right if you have a single door, so the machine would have to be on this wall if I want to cover the noise when I open the door. It's possible, I suppose, but it makes a weird roof where you have like a hole here for a triangle or a square in order to sell with outpost. And I guess you do have to reinforce that wall, whereas this one could have just been honeycomb or bear rugs have been incredible, absolutely incredible, and don't even have to focus on healing. Just remind myself to eat because I see it's too low. I like the placement here. The only thing I could do different is possibly turn this around, bring the locker here and the workbench there, and then put a box here, large box here, and a small box there. What that will allow me to do is put an adapter on the small box. Because if I put an adapter now, I can't walk over the adapter. There's no way to put it on the side, like this big box. And then I could plug these two together and make more room. Because I'm still having the issue where this is, how do you call it? Clogged or bottlenecked. When it's full of stuff, the stuff won't transfer from the outside box. Let's take a look at the filters. Conveyor filter. This is for the box outside. Transfer everything. Currently, we have this one for scrap. Transferring all the scrap from the vending machine when we sell at night when we're not playing. Scrap is then transferred in a more secure area, which is, I guess, not really necessary if this place is as hard as this one. But we could also transfer other things that we end up sending us ourselves here, like rock and wood. But we could request more. I do have lists for, which is quite a breeze, I would say. But in the hope to remove a machine, it would probably be this one. Especially if you play often, you just empty the machine. But it's just such a convenience. Close that. Take a look at the rest of the conveyors. Lockers. My previous locker system was quite extensive, but it didn't quite work too well. Where we had one for each, conveyor for each, and then lists of different types of clothing our lockers would be filled with different setups, like a higher graded setup, a medium, and a lower grade setup. But it didn't fill enough space, didn't free up enough space here. I feel that's possible if you have like 3 boxes worth of stuff you can drop into, because then you can drop all kinds of stuff, all kinds of gear. It's worth it if somebody really picks up a lot of people, but I still don't, and you want to clear this box more than have too many boxes just for locker system. But it's definitely feasible to have an extensive locker system for that purpose, if it's your fun. But for me, the conveyor, all I'm really asking it to do is to send my favorite clothes, which are pants, jackets, wood armor. Absolutely love these things. A tactical glove are my favorite glove, I buy them. And send me 2 pumpkins, send me 2 syringe. Yeah. Send me a tool so I can hit barrels. Send me all the clothing. We'll talk about this. Send me a wood barricade, because I do think it's a useful thing to have on the hotbar. Send me a bow, because I like the bow. I think it's needs to be used more, or you know, a useful tool. And basically when you do that, it gives you something like this here, right? 42 cloth, so you can make a bed and bandages. Pumpkins, 4 pumpkins. Let's go 4. 2 syringe, a tool, maybe a bow or a gun, weapon, or I don't know. So basically you can have like something like this, or just these 4, right? And then if you add clothing, which are categories, right? So these are categories. You can look them up. They're here, right? Clothes. All you have to do is type something. If you don't remember, just remove it, and you see a few of them here. There's more than this. And they actually refer to crafting categories. If you type electrical, you'll find electrical. We have here, for example, we'll talk about that. Yeah, and you can do food and, you know, things like that. Quite useful. So in the case of clothing, I said I don't max it out. I say just send me all the clothes. This is just to clear the box, and it puts all the clothes here. Now the thing about this system, the reason why you want something more extensive, is because it doesn't sort like a player does. When a player is trying to sort clothes, the locker knows. Show you. When the system does it, it doesn't know. But when a player does this, the locker knows. It says it's 1 pant, it's 1 armor for your pant, for your lower, 1 helmet. It already has a helmet. It's not gonna put the hazmat suit because there's already something, you know. But if you ask the system to do it, system will just throw all of it. It doesn't think like that. It doesn't have what the player does somehow. And it's a bummer in the sense that it doesn't feel it right. If it would feel it right, it would make like perfect setups. So we don't know if they're gonna fix these things or what. So the question is, do you want floating? No. Because if you don't, putting in my favorite clothes, right. If you don't, then it's only gonna put your favorite stuff that you've put and the stuff that you asked it to drop, like the meds, the pumpkin, the cloth, the tool, a weapon maybe, whatever else. And then you can quickly load into your basics. And then go take the rest somewhere, or your clothes somewhere else, or your gun somewhere else. But I like having kind of... I don't mind the gears, but I don't mind having all kinds of fuckeries. Let me show you. Because if it's not that, then it's gonna be the player who has to put everything in, or go fetch it in a box. What you could have though is like another box where only clothing is selected. You know, just clothing. Where just clothing is selected. And that way you would have all the clothes go in a box. You could pull up a bunch of clothes. And then, you know, I'm gonna pull up a bunch of clothes from this little box. Like this. Grab everything, just put it on yourself, like that, you know. That's fine as well. Yes, brother. What's good, man? So that's one way, I think, to really fix clothes, where your locker would just be like your initial gear minus the clothes. You know, just your initial gear that you ask it, swap, then take all your clothes, another box, put it on. Anyway, I hope that's clear. Personally, I think we can do clothing. Watch it drop. It's either that or you this. It's fine. Then you have to drop back your stuff, which is not great. But let's so if we try with clothing, we just imagine we're naked, we just swap, boom, we end up with that. And it's a fine start. Maybe we can just... Oh, okay, so we do that, we end up with this bullshit. The good start thing, a useful resource. And then we say, okay, I'm missing a shirt, headset, gloves. Then put that on. The rest. You know, something like that. I think it's a fine start. Swap this. Let's try to break it. Let's try to break it. Too much stuff. Clear this out. I love this shit. Working out, you know. Alright, swap. Okay, that's a build, alright. We're missing gloves. Gloves. And even if you're missing something else, I think it's a fine start. We're missing a shirt, which is pretty bad. This. Boom. Hey, that's a great armor. Let's go. Next one. We're also noticing it's putting clothes like here. That's not great. We're also noticing that it's lacking the syringe, which should be here. So I guess you do have to stock the box. Again, this box is just such a bottleneck. It's a little hard to understand why it's such a bottleneck. It really feels like I need 2 boxes, or at least an extension. So we'll be playing with like a small box extension, see if it works. Anyway, that's it for the locker. Let's move on. Current list. TC, TC, you could make it more granular. I did go with like wood, and then the problem is it stacks it full of wood. So we put 2000, and it's gonna keep it with 2 stacks of wood. The issue I have with that is that when you say you want to use wood, right? You use wood or don't use wood, then it keeps filling it up. Then you try to put it back and it won't go back because it's been refilled. That I find a little bothering, because then you have to look down to your box, drop it here, and then, you know, it's not what I want to do. So instead, I said, okay, well, let's limit it to 1005. That way, there will always be space, right? There will always be space. If you have 1005 and you take half of the 1000, you still have 5. So you can throw back the 5 over the other 5. So that's one thing. Yeah, that's an idea. Currently, I just chose a resource. I'm just saying, okay, drop everything in a TC. Mostly because I'm missing slots. Because if you do it granular, like wood that, stone that, metal frag that, high quality that, you have to do it for you also have to put here the rest of the things, because if you don't, then it's not gonna take your scrap, it's not gonna take fuel. Once you have categories, you have no choice but to add everything else that you want, or else it's not gonna take the rest. So that's, the thing is, there's like 18 different things that can come in here, and a conveyor has a max limit slots of 12. So you need 2 conveyors if you want to be granular like that. And the other issue that I hope they fix is that even if you say I want 1 stack of stone for 1000, if there's space, instead of adding it here, sometimes it adds it here. It goes like that. It goes like this. Okay, whatever. So, I hope they fix that, but until then I said fuck it, just put all the resource. Another thing that I looked for was, okay, put 10,000 resource, because that way you always have space for everything else. But the problem that I ended up with was, at least late game, when I had sulfur like here, it wasn't taking the sulfur because it said 10,000 resource. So I was left with like stuff here that didn't need to be here, you know, while it could have been just transferred here. And sulfur right now is doing that for some reason. Oh, I know, because I didn't put a limit. Right? But if I put 10,000, then it stops transferring. You know, so that's a little bit of an issue with the resource max. You don't necessarily want your sulfur or other resources stuck in boxes. Gunpowder, right? I don't know if it should be here. Not necessarily for a security reason, but I think for space reason. Just we want these things to be in the TC, right? So don't. So I can't limit right now. Let's raise it though. Let's go to 14,000 and just see how it operates, or just put no limit. Instead of having these 5 stacks, I wish I could just limit to 4,000 and then accept the rest. I guess one way to fix that is just bloop, take. Let me try again. Bloop. Just take one like that. Let the gunpowder fall in. Okay. So that's the current list. The other thing here, tool, electrical. If you have resources, then you need to let it pass the hammer you need to let it pass the tool, let it pass the hose. Because when I'm going outside, have my small box, drop my tools, drop anything, right? Anything I want. And when I come back, they're back here, which I think is very convenient. And in order to do that, they need to pass through. But they won't pass through unless if you've selected things here, right? They'll pass through if you don't select anything, which is, I think, where we're going anyways with TC. Because if the number here makes no sense, then why would there be a filter anyway? And if there's no filter, that means we might not need a conveyor for TC. We might just need to plug it to another conveyor that allows anything also. We'll talk about it later when I do that. But tools. So people might wonder, is that a tool? The hose tool and the wire tool, the pipe tool. So these are not tools. The hammer is a tool. But these are electrical, right? Because they're found here, the electrical. So you actually need to tell it to take electrical as a, if you want a category for these tools. A little confusing. And this one for me is my what's it called, component box, right? Just components, you know, guns, key cards, fuse, and tech trash, and pipes, and signs, and sewing kits, and rope, gears, all the stuff that you want in a small, compact, you know, setup. So I think I'm gonna try and make it pass through here. Same thing with the furnace. You don't necessarily want a conveyor for the furnace. You can pass anything through the furnace, and the only thing that are going to stop are things that can fit in the furnace. The rest is just going to pass through to the next box, right? So I want to look into that because we need to talk about this battery. So this battery, there's two batteries right now. What I'm noticing, let's just do a quick out. Solar panel is you look left, you put it, you look south, put it down, boom, use the compass, points north. It's a little fucked up. And the sun, I think, changes over time because it's like seasons, like real seasons. So sometimes it's lower, or I don't know. It's a little more fucked up than we think. But the idea is that it's rising east, passing north, heading west, and it's 100%. Can't tell, but it's fine. Just make sure. You can see this is valid. 100. Always repair it when you move it, else it's gonna fuck up. Really enjoying this triangle formation, the standard reinforced doors system. So if you look at this one, it paints a picture that's really clear. The timer isn't changing. It's 8 minutes 48 seconds. 8:47, 8:49. So it's balanced. right now. It's balanced. Everything coming in, opposed to everything coming out. But what's surprising and counterintuitive, that even if it says 10 out, but it's actually 7 right now, because if I stop some of them, then the timer goes up. See? And it's not really pushing 10. It's visually it's confusing. So active, I put them back. So active 7, so out 7, incoming 10, because this battery outputs 10, because this battery accepts 10. Okay, so it's receiving 10. We can see it here as well. It's saying I'm receiving 10, the same way this is saying I'm receiving 20. Now what that tells us is at 7 output we're stable, the system is stable. What that means, if it's not charging or depleting. And if you would have a solar panel on it, it would probably be charging. The same way I think this one is charging, isn't it? We're at 130 over 150. It's outputting 10, receiving 20 from the solar panel. So it is charging. I'm not quite sure how the math adds up on all of this stuff, but all I'm looking for is equilibrium, which means stability, or equal. I'm not sure what the right English word is. And as long as it's not depleting during the day, that's important, because you don't want to end up at night with low power. Because the idea is if this battery here reaches 0, the whole system stops and resets, closes. And that's bad, because the scrap won't transfer by itself. And then when you come back here, you have to restart them. You know, your plants stop growing, all kinds of bad things. You have no light. I don't know. But yeah, at 7. So 7 is a good number. And I think it's going up. Yeah, it's going up from 7. So 7 is good. If you do 8 or 9, you're actually not going to make it through the night unless you have 2 batteries. Because at 8 and 9, it's taking more than 150 for the whole night. But if you have 2 batteries, you can have more than 150 capacity, right? If you look here, there's actually 207 total max capacity, which will ensure that an 8 or 9 goes through. The issue with 8 or 9 is that this one starts depleting. Let's do that. One more. Now it starts depleting. And how is it ever, with 2 batteries at least, how is it ever going to go back? You know, as soon as night falls, this one is low and it's bad. Resets. And if you have 1 battery, you might go through with 150 at 8 with through a night, but you won't with 9. You certainly can't with 10. There's one time I think I made it through with 9 or 10. One setup. It had to do with the orientation and of the solar panel. But you can see here this depletion is going to cause a system to be low at night or at the early morning. And why do I say I was able to make it at 10 or 9 once? I believe it's because of the landscape. Ooh, somebody there. So the landscape, you see that mountain? That blocks the sun when it goes up. People might not think about that, right? Sun goes up, it's blocked by that mountain. Like beyond your house, causing shadows. Landscape might do that as well. Like there is a situation where this fucking tower there blocks the sun. That would suck. So yeah, I think 7 will be fine. Probably 7 with 1 battery, frankly. I know you can go through the night with 7 for sure. 8, it's a little finicky. 9, you have to be has to be really tight. But you can fail at 8. The system can fail at 8, but 7 it's mostly pretty stable, and we can see why. I mean, it would be charging, and it's at least not depleting, right? So that's why. And then once you're at 150, no sun, you can make it through. Provided that the sun comes back on time. I placed this thing here. I think it's quite useful. You have quick access to water when you grow, instead of having to go outside. I liked it a lot. But I don't go get water that much, you know, and I do like the fact that you can measure how much you want. But honestly, if I have 5,000 water, it's more than enough for my little planter. 5,000 water is good. Like, if I start the day with 5,000 water for my little 1x3 planter, I'm fine. It's gonna be a good day. But I'm wondering still if I need it. I'm gonna remove that. So I'm wondering if I need it if this is positioned on the roof, like sealed from others. People can't drink from it or take the whole thing, which people do for their plants. Then I assume it's fine. If somebody needs a ladder or a copter to come here, or need to be building just to get some water that they might not see because of the way I build, I think this would be more than enough. Plus, it's a place I like to come for different assets. So I'm gonna leave this be for a second just to see what's the true max capacity of this. Is it 5 or 3 or 10 or... Hope it's at least 5. Does it say? No. Maybe if I look here. A construction, believe it or not. Nope, doesn't say. The third box, absolutely here. It's gotta be protected by a door at least. But it would free up. If I could free up the space and just put this box there, it allows me to put something else here that I may need, like a repair bench or things like that when my roof isn't complete. And you can't complete the roof unless you finish the honeycomb. So I think that's it for that. I'm also gonna show. So yeah, people might come here because they hear me open doors and shit. But normally I never get attacked. My house is always standing. People are not interested in a small house. Like my house is too small to really bring big boom attention. You know, most people like they go for easy targets. If you're a small place, you might want to hit that with some fire arrows, Molotov, uh, explosive shotgun shells. I think these are the three. You might want to hit this wall that's decaying. That's a good target on top too, right there. You might see a door. And for those who can make big boom, they're more interested in places, right? Some big spots there. There's one across the map over there, an actual clan base. This guy has a castle there. I do think it's a solo living up there. But back to our place. Nobody likes to hit big solo houses, I think. In that guy on the right. Oh, he's going up. Oh, boom. That's pretty far, isn't it? Anyways. I want to show you like a bigger place. Makes more sense. But yeah, if you're a clan right now, you've been farming for 4 days, you definitely want to hit clan bases, you know? The ones that are still standing, the ones that are not decaying. This is the last day, so they're kind of hard to find. I was at a nice spot, by the way. That's close to everything I like. Ish. Everybody's base is almost gone. The clan base there at the corner on the left. Right, like if you have a real boom, you might be more interested in that. For some reason, these big base, they only make it out of rock. They don't utilize materials the same way I do. I'm actually going to count, right, the hit points needed to go through each wall. Right? Like there's no thinking like that. Yesterday, somebody blew this up. They put a ladder, I guess. They went up, blew up, maybe that one. And they made their own door, I don't know. Talked with the guy, he was just there, Pepega. But yeah, my base looks like any other small house. Doesn't look like much from here either. You can't tell there's shit happening. Go up here. So yeah, just to conclude. Okay. Sure. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm down. Just give me the bag. I want to put a bag down. Close to what? The harbor? Nice shot. I think I researched the hoodie. Yeah, you can see my house there. There's nothing happening on my house. Like, you can't tell that there's anything going on. Just looks dumb, which is great. That's what I want. But who's shooting? Oh yeah, he's on top of the... There's two of them. Great zip line, great system. We got roads, zip lines. I went to this place over there a bunch. This way was always found stuff. Yes. The shot. Yes, yes. Who does that? Like, who plays like that? Just can't. If you can hit me, man. Good shot. He's trying. He's trying. Yes. He hits the box. It's a pretty sight. It's open. You must have an 8x. No, I guess the shot would be more precise. Guess he doesn't have anything, just a sight. Oh, I missed that. Alright, dude. That's not what we're here for, apparently. These guys, we could check these guys if we can see anything going down here. The fuck was that? So what are they doing? You know, I like to spend time just thinking, what are these guys doing? They're at Lighthouse. It's like they're using a chopper. Recycling. But yeah, that's the build. Whenever I need cloth, get the hemp. Whenever I need food, get the pumpkin. This thing's a blessing. But I just want to take a quick save, because it's I'll go and go down to shit. I'm gonna stop and think for the whole evening about this box, because everything comes in this box and everything goes out from this box. I want to understand what the main issue is, what's causing this. How many slots? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 times 6, which is the same as 4 times 12. Which is the same as 2 times 24, which is the same as, you know, there's a bunch of ways. So that's 48. So why is 50 slots not able to compute. So I'm gonna stand here and just look at this the whole evening. See if we can come up with something compact like this, but that's operating.